Welcome everyone to this webinar with Virtual Cabinet. Now I've seen the client list and the registration list, and I've noticed that there's a couple of clients on here who aren't actually using Virtual Cabinet yet. And you're welcome to join us and see what we're all about. If anything doesn't make sense or if you want further information, please let me know afterwards. A couple of house rules just before we get started. Everyone is on mute, so if you want to ask a question, there is a question box. We probably won't type the answers in here during the webinar, but we'll try and get to as many as possible, and then if not, I'll get to them afterwards. I see there are a lot of people still logging on this call right now. Okay, and lastly, we are recording this session and we'll send out the recording afterwards as well. As we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Tom Norfolk. I'm one of the account managers here at Virtual Cabinet and actually take care of all of you guys. So instead of waiting around, let's take a look at what we're going to be covering today. So this is the agenda for today. Some of you may have used these fantastic tools before. If you haven't, don't worry, this is exactly what the webinar is for, and we're going to show you all of them. Perfect, let's get started. Before we go ahead, just check that you're on the latest version of Virtual Cabinet. You can do that by going to the home page of your VC system, and it will notify you if there's a new version available. If you would like assistance with upgrading, then just contact our support team. I'm going to put their contact details at the end of this video for you. Let's kick off the webinar with the document viewer. Now, the in tray in Virtual Cabinet is a temporary holding area for documents, just like on your desk. The first thing you need to do is view them. If you were like me, you would have thought that the quickest way to flip through a document was with paper. Well, that's why we've got this document viewer, so that you can sift through documents quicker and easier and electronically. A bonus is that you don't get any paper cuts. To view the file, hover over the document you want and click once. This can be a Word document, a spreadsheet, a PDF, a PowerPoint, email, scan, you name it, we can do it. That will then appear on the left. If you want to dock it across to your second screen, if you rock one of those, you can actually click on the arrow here and then click on float. Now, in most cases, this is enough for us to action. But if you do want to view it fully, you can click once more on the document preview, and that will allow you to zoom in, zoom out, flip through the pages, and screenshot certain parts. So again, the document viewer in Virtual Cabinet is a great way of quickly looking at the document. The idea being is that you can skip through them as if they're on your desk. So that's the document viewer in Virtual Cabinet. Now let's move swiftly on to how we send documents to colleagues in VC. So what actions might you like to do with post, let's say? Let's say it's been scanned into your in tray. It might also be for Alice, so that she needs to see it as well. Instead of going over to her desk, what I can do is I can look to the right hand side of my window where there's a number of in trays. In this instance, I would like to pass the document over to Alice. It's a simple drag and drop process. I'm going to drag this document over to Alice's in tray, let go, and in this instance I could just press send and that will route the document to Alice. But actually, what if I want to add a sticky note as well? Virtual Cabinet enables you to do that. I can just click on add note. Let's say, thanks Alice, I owe you one. It's a pretty important document about a contract, so I can also include an FYI to my director by sending the shortcut. That way, we're not duplicating the document and they can actually follow a hyperlink from other people's in trays. From there, they can then review the document and then delete the shortcut where necessary. If it's an important deal for me, I personally like to shortcut it so that at any point I can see where it is, who's it with, who's editing it. Now, if you're in the position of Alice here, she's now looking at her in tray. She can now see the copy of this document, but clearly with the visual element of the sticky note. So if she was to click on that note, she can now see date and time stamped and any message that I might have left her. Alice can now add further notes to the document, and these notes are fantastic because they can be added at any time. It's not just when you're routing post. If you're going into the filing cabinet and you want to add a note against a document, you can. so there's a visual reference for the next person that comes in to look at the document. Now, I've gone from 7 documents to 6 documents, as if I physically moved the document from my in tray to Alice's in tray. Okay, now we've finished on distributing documents. Access is an important part of VC, so let's move on to in tray security. There's actually plenty of security around the in trays in Virtual Cabinet as well. I mean, typically managers will be able to want to see everyone's in tray and then limit it so that no one else can see theirs. And that just means that people just see the document they are supposed to. So in this instance, if I was to click on Lee's in tray and I'm a junior member of staff, you can see that any privileges have now been revoked and I cannot see anything in their in tray. You can have groups of in trays, so you can have multiple people all accessing more than one in tray at a time. So for example, you could have managers, HR, etc. If you want to change the security of each in tray, your admin needs to go to click on the admin tab, go down to users and groups and down to in tray security. From there, you can select from anyone's in tray on the left and then find a colleague on the right who you want to have access or not. So again, as a partner or manager, you can access everyone's in tray, whilst everyone else can only see their own. So that's just a bit on security, and I've actually just had a question from Michael who says, is it possible to get a higher view of how everyone is keeping tabs with the documents in their in tray rather than having to go into each in tray? And yep, you're absolutely right, Michael, there is a way to do that, and that's through our in tray report. So let's move on to that next. Now, one of the key areas in VC is that we give you lots of reporting so you can manage the bottlenecks in your business. What I'd recommend is actually checking this in tray report every 1 to 2 weeks. So if you have the right privilege, you can click on the reporting tab and the in tray report is the second one in for you. This is more targeted than the generic ones you'd find on the home screen, just like the other reports on here, which we'll go through at a later date. So that will give you a bird's eye view of anything that hasn't yet been filed in your colleague's in tray. What I would do is I would keep an eye on the senior directors, make sure that the documents aren't building up in their in tray. If it does though, no worries. Just go back to our last video and have a look at in tray security and set it up so that their PA can access their in tray and distribute it elsewhere. So again, just remember to take a look at this report every now and then to keep your operations running smoothly. Alright, I hope that answers your question, Michael. Now let's move on to indexing from your in tray. Now, obviously the in tray is a temporary holding area for documents. So next thing you need to do is index the document just like you would in an office. Now, we know that nobody likes to index a document, we get that. And that's why we made it simple and easy in VC. This is really the #1 place in a business where efficiency can be gained, especially with our intelligent indexing. So I have a number of documents in my in tray, and to file them away, it's a simple drag and drop process. On the right hand side, I have a number of different filing cabinets that I've customized for the demo, but I can only give one example in this case. So if we use the accounts folder, but please can use your imagination that actually no matter what type of business you're in, we can completely customize this to suit you. So in this case, I want to file this document away. I drag in, I let go onto my accountancy folder, and so the first thing it asks is what type of document is this. So again, we have a customizable drop down list that we can change for you. We can change any one of the name and conventions in here. So if I just call this one an invoice, and then in this case I have a drop down list of any customers or suppliers that we can pull across from your CRM. So I'm going to use that to tick one off. I can complete any of the index fields, which again can be customized for you. What I would say is if you feel like you have too many indexes in your VC system, then it's worth looking to see if you actually need them and then asking our support team to get rid of them if so. And you can also control them being mandatory or not. And that is really important in keeping it all standardized and making sure staff are indexing it the correct way. You could obviously lock indexes as well. So if you're going to be indexing a whole bunch of signed proposals, for example, you might want to lock that. You can also file away multiple documents at once, which just makes things a bit easier. It will take the original file name for each document. So go ahead, I'm going to file that document away. Indexing in VC is so simple for our integrations and lists that it's barely even noticeable. And one of the main things our clients forget is that it also eliminates human error and that reliance of everyone typing in the same name for that person, for example. Alright, now the final bit on the in tray is the ribbon, and then after that we're going to have a brief interlude, so if you want to get a cup of coffee or tea, you can do, whilst we play a video about Virtual Cabinet Cloud, which is called Workiro. One thing you'll notice is that if you're going from version 5 to version 5.2, then we've grouped things up a little bit more sensibly. So along the ribbon on the top, we have a number of different functions. Here we can perform actions in Virtual Cabinet or actions against the document. Along this ribbon, we have a refresh button that forces the in tray to refresh. We can add new documents to our entry ourselves, and even from outside sources. Now we are aware that people use other areas to store documents. VC is designed to become that one single source of truth for all of the client documentation and communication. Let's say I'm collaborating on a document in SharePoint, for example. I grab the link from SharePoint, I'll go back into VC, I'll click on add link in the top left and copy and paste that link in there. There's a lot of mess, give it an intelligent name, and then it acts just like any other document in VC. I can index it with all the other documents, keeping VC that one single source of truth. On from there, you can create documents from a template library, allowing other users to access your intro by using the security tab, force documents to open when indexing, open documents and edit items, then save documents in progress or discard versions. Now, convert to PDF was actually one of our clients' ideas, so if you do plan on sending documents via email, make sure you send them as a PDF. That means your clients can't edit them. If you just click on convert to PDF, it will do that for you. Importantly, we are creating a duplicate PDF. This means you can keep the original Word document if you need to edit it again. One of the best ways that we improve VC is through client feedback, and often their ideas come from duplicating real-life processes. Take stapling together random documents, for example. You have merge in Virtual Cabinet. If you want to do the opposite of that, then we have split. Just select multiple PDFs and click the button. If you want to merge Word documents, make sure that you convert them to PDFs nice and easily using the button before, and then merge it. It's the same again with photocopying documents. You can take that whole process for a digital document into one button. So another common example I come across in my meetings is quite often our clients keep account spreadsheets or templates in VC and they want to reuse it next year. The best way to do that is through the duplicate button. Moving further along, we can index or file documents away, keeping our in tray clear, delete depending on the permissions you have, rename documents in your in tray, and apply notes. Of course, you can also view the audit trail of a document, which is a huge selling point of Virtual Cabinet. Any actions that happen to the document will be tracked. Now, back in the day, we used to print stuff out and put them in envelopes. So I'd say, take an engagement letter, covering letter and policy letter, put them all in an envelope, in that order, seal it and send it to a client. Well, we've kind of recreated that process, but electronically. We call it packs in Virtual Cabinet. It's a way of linking documents anywhere in VC and keeping them together. Just select your documents and click pack. And give it a nice intelligent name, obviously. And then finally, you can send documents to other users and extract documents. We can also email documents as an attachment, as a PDF, if it's a scanned image or email, as a link for internal VC users. Finally, we have print, which allows us to print documents if required. Okay, so that is the in tray in Virtual Cabinet. We have covered the document viewer, sending documents to colleagues, the security, the report, the indexing, as well as the ribbon as well. Now, just before we move on to searching, we're going to have a small interlude, so if you want to grab a tea or a coffee, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to put on a video about Workiro, which is the cloud-based version of Virtual Cabinet. So just sit back and enjoy.
Are you surrounded by chaos? Emails, documents, approvals, and communication scattered across your company. Important information gets buried in multiple apps and systems. Teams spend countless hours searching and still can't find what they need. Critical decisions stored without the right data. Customers get frustrated from the delays. Why accept a world where doing great work is harder than it needs to be? There's a better way. Introducing Workiro. Enterprise content management integrated with your ERP, CRM, and core back-office software. Workiro empowers teams to collaborate and communicate without compromise, providing intuitive document management, instant messaging, task management, collaboration, e-signatures, and more in an all-in-one platform that breaks down silos and allows businesses to thrive. Critical emails are effortlessly captured and organized, while documents and files are securely stored in the cloud, accessible from any device. Real-time co-editing on Microsoft Office and PDF documents under version control, all underpinned by Workiro's real-time messaging and task management, turbocharges your team's productivity and provides the crucial single source of truth. Work faster and focus on high-value activities and streamline your processes. Workiro's embedded AI recommends relevant content to speed up work, while automation handles the repetitive tasks. Data leaks are a thing of the past too. Workiro's robust permissions, encryption, and backup ensure your information stays protected and compliant. Workiro revolutionizes how people collaborate and turn ideas into results, enabling organizations of all sizes to unlock their potential.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that small interlude about Workiro. If you want to know more about it or have a demonstration of the product, then just get in touch with myself at the end and I'll be more than happy to book you in. So now let's move on to the second half of this webinar, which is purely focused on searching. First up, we've got basic searches. On this section, we will be covering the basics of searching and retrieving documents, which we believe is one of the most important parts of a document management system. So to start, the search screen has several elements: a selection of buttons on the ribbon toolbar along the top of the window, a keyword search box used for entering search criteria, a panel for displaying search results, a panel that lists the cabinets and folders you can search in, and the indexes you can search on. You can perform a basic search by entering a search time like bank into the central keyword search box and clicking the search button or pressing return on the keyboard. The search box will search across all the cabinets you can access and will search through all of the indexes on the document. Any matching documents will be shown in the search results panel. As you can see, searching at the top here, although I did get my results, it can provide more results than you're looking for. A powerful targeted way of searching is the search criteria panel on the left. The other half of the search criteria panel shows all the cabinets and the folders you have access to. This lets you select the cabinet or folder you want to search within. To search through the whole system and all of the documents in all the cabinets, select Virtual Cabinet at the top of the list. To search through all the documents in a cabinet, select the cabinet. If I pick a filing cabinet, the lower half of the panel will show me all of the indexes applied to that filing cabinet. These indexes can be used to help target your searches. The reason I encourage this as well is also because of the stress on your server. So for example, if you've got 1 million documents in your cabinet and you're using that keyword search box as well as 40 different indexes, if you put that keyword in the keyword search area, you're asking your server to look through 40 million different places. Whereas if you put that keyword in an index field, you're asking it to look in 1 million different places, which, as I'm sure you can understand, is a lot kinder to your server. You'll also notice that my document date and actually all of my dates are set to range. This is because under my default operators, I've set my date to be a range field. A great thing that gives me the ability to very quickly tick the box and start picking 2 dates to do a search on. As I scroll through these fields, if I were to pick a section such as General, the fields down the bottom change in line with what can be filed in General. You can use these options to find documents in there. I would particularly recommend looking at file extension, date range, publish to portal, and the special email indexes at the bottom. These look at things captured in the background of emails, such as the address and when it was received. It means you can search for emails from a specific person, and if you don't remember their full email address, just change it to contains. In this case, within Wilm and Carla, we'll only be finding corresponding documents relating to Wilm and Carla. You can use the search results list view to quickly group, sort and filter your documents. Change your view of the search results by using the buttons in the top right hand corner. List view shows the results in a table with one document on each row. Preview view shows the results in a table with a preview of the first page of the selected document on the right hand side. Thumbnail view shows a small thumbnail preview of each document in the search results. You can also gain more space by auto-hiding the search criteria if you wish. You can easily show or hide data columns by right-clicking on any column header. To reorder the columns, use your mouse to drag a column header into a different position. You can group your documents together so that they are easier to look through, almost like a Windows folder structure. Use the mouse to drag a column header onto the region that is labelled "Drag a column header here" to group by that column. You can create multiple groups and subgroups. To remove a grouping, drag it out of the box. Documents can be sorted according to the data in a column. So to sort your documents, click on a column header. A small arrow will then appear to show the direction of the sort. A second click will reverse the sort direction. You can filter your search results by clicking in the space below a column header and typing the text that you want to filter by, and this is one of the most useful functions in the search screen and allows you to pinpoint exactly what you are looking for very quickly. So what I recommend is using the index fields to find the document type and perhaps the client, and then maybe in the description use the filter so you can type in exactly what you're looking for. In this case, I'm going to type in bank. You could then use the preview to identify exactly which one it is you're looking for. So in this basic searching, we have covered the layout of searching, the advantage of using indexes to search and setting default operators, the layout of search results, and then how to group, sort and filter documents. Okay, we've now finished on the basics of searching. Now let's move on to the more advanced searching where you can gain significant time and be an expert of Virtual Cabinet. On this section, we will be covering the advanced searching on offer in Virtual Cabinet and how we make sure a document never gets lost in VC. So to start off with, we're going to look at choosing indexes, something that most people aren't aware of. If you've got Virtual Cabinet selected at the top, you can actually choose your indexes. By picking choose my indexes, I can choose a certain set of indexes that I always search on. So for this example, I'm going to pick client name and I'm also going to pick document entry. If I close Virtual Cabinet and go back into my search tab, by default, it loads those fields ready for me to do my next search. Something else to be aware of, if I choose indexes and choose publish to portal and click OK, and then pick the client as publish to portal, do a search, it will then show me all the documents that are currently published to the portal. Now that's really useful if you're using our portal system because you can literally go straight to those documents very quickly. The next thing I want to cover is actually the best way to navigate those date fields, because sometimes it can be a pain having to launch that full calendar control. So if you put your cursor in one of the date fields and use the up or down arrow, this is the best way to cycle through months, years or days for date controls. You can cycle through information very quickly without having to launch a full calendar control that way. And in this example, I'll do this search and that will find anything from the last 18 months or so. You can now launch and manage saved searches from the search screen, and this is just like a bookmark in Google. So you can create a saved search for a client that you're working on a lot or a search that you're often performing. and then you can jump into that search with one simple click, either from this tab or from the bottom of your home screen. Now, as I briefly discussed on the last video, there's these different views that you can also gain more space by hiding the search criteria if you wish. This will be things like the list view, the preview view, and the thumbnail view. Now, in any one of these views, you can easily show or hide data columns by right-clicking on any column header. To reorder the columns, use your mouse to drag a column header into a different position. So for instance, I'm going to move my email attachment column just so it's a little bit smaller next to this field here. And I'm also going to move my version table and my file ID in a bit as well. I've got my index fields, and I'm going to move a blocker field, which is on the left here by default, over to this side. If I bring my preview back in, you'll see that as I move across, we get the Excel freeze panes type functionality, allowing me to always see the fields on the left. I can also group by my client section to give me a folder structure field to my client file. Right click and unclick that client section to gain space yet again, because I have already got my client section as a grouping. Next, let's talk about ordering documents. So by default, my document entry date is in descending order within a group. I'm going to click on the client section in order to descend alphabetical order. So I'm then going to get my accounts and audit, company secretarial, and general. If I then hold down shift on my keyboard, I can then choose to order the document type, which groups my documents types together. Holding shift allowed me to set those orders, and then the virtual cabinet will maintain that order next time. Now if I go out of VC and into an indexed email within Outlook, once I've got that pane open, you can see all of the indexes where it was filed away. If I click on client name, it will do a bond search and show you all the results for said client straight from Outlook. Finally, I want to touch on content searching. Now this can be great if you've forgotten where you filed away a document or you need something very quickly. So for this exercise, I'm going to search across documents in the client's filing cabinet, which I've already selected. To enable content search, click on the search content button, which will then turn grey. Now anything that I type in the keyword search box will be searched for in the contents of any documents in the client's filing cabinet. For my first search, I'm going to look for the name Thomas Norfolk in any documents in the client's filing cabinet. Virtual cabinet will look for either Thomas or Norfolk, or both within any of those documents. I'll click on search, and now have 5 documents returned, highlighted in black where it found the words I searched for within the relevant paragraph in these documents. If I then click on the hyperlink, it will open the documents where Thomas and Norfolk appear. We have covered choosing your indexes, navigating date fields, saving searches, grouping, filtering and ordering searches, searching in Outlook, and then content searching. The final piece I want to search on is Boolean searching. Now this is something that you guys might never have to use, but it's the most advanced feature within Virtual Cabinet. So as you can see from these search results, Thomas and Norfolk do not have to be next to one another. If I want to make sure that I'm finding Thomas Norfolk specifically, so I can only find one document here, I need to put double quotes around the 2 words and click search. It will now look for Thomas next to Norfolk. This time I want to search for any documents where both Thomas and Samantha are in the documents. I've used "and" in capitals, which is important. Now if I do my search, it will find documents where both Thomas and Samantha exist. Conversely, if I want to search for any documents out of Thomas but not Samantha, I can do exactly the same thing using the word "not." This search finds 3 documents where Thomas is mentioned but not Samantha. Now there are a couple of other useful functions within the search content section. The first is wildcard, so if I search for the word test in quotes, it will only bring me back documents that contain the word test. But if I search for test asterisk, that will bring back any documents that start with the word test. So when I search, I find 2 documents, one containing the word testing and one with the word testament. Another thing we can do is we can use a character called the tilde. If I look for any documents with the word word with a tilde and select my client cabinet, my search results will include variations like ward and wording. The final part is to show you how you can use a combination of your indexing values on the right hand side with words in the content search at the top. So I'm going to look for any documents where the description is live and they contain Thomas. When I hit search, 2 documents return. This is just a slide to remind you what we've covered today. I hope it's all been useful. If there's anything that I haven't addressed, please get in touch with the account managers and we'll be more than happy to go through that. If this has been useful, we're more than happy to hold more sessions in the future. Just let us know what topics you might want us to cover. Obviously, we continue to offer support through our account managers who are more than happy to sit down with you to understand what you do as a practice and how you use Virtual Cabinet. We want you to get the best out of your investment with Virtual Cabinet, and we know there's a lot of functionality that people may not be aware of or just aren't using. So please get in touch with us to set up a meeting. And obviously, as mentioned at the start, we've recorded this session and we'll make it available to everyone who registered, and then you can even share it around your organisation as well. So I think that's it from me. I think we kept to time and everything went smoothly. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks very much everyone. Thanks for coming and we'll be in touch soon. Take care.